Salute to all the Patreon members. I want to thank you guys for your support. It really means a lot to me. I don't have the links in the description box below right now, but after this live stream is over with, I will add the links to the Patreon page and the Facebook page and the links in the description box below. I just uploaded a brand new video on the Patreon page today, so check that out. Part 2 of the series that I said I was going to make. I know that I'm a little bit early with this live stream, but this is a very important topic because I know not the last live stream, but the second to last live stream that I did, I talked about, you know, the treatment that Black people get over in Asia and how it's not called out, how it's never called out, right? How it seems like people who are racist over in different cultures, I'm not saying everybody, right? But why don't the people of the people that do stuff like this don't get credit for the bigots and the racists that they really are? It's like, it's always, hey, do they not know any better? Right? I pointed that out in the second to last live stream. What was that live stream about? I think it was a story that we did, wasn't it? It was like, oh yeah, it was a brother who went over to China. He was on a date, either with his girl or it was with, it might have been a woman that he just met, but then there were a bunch of Chinese men that had their phones out harassing her, spewing racial slurs at the both of them. And I said, that's normal. Now, fast forward, you have, you know, when did I do that live stream? May 5th. It's May 9th, right? Like the very next day, 2 days later, after I made that live stream, there's another video that came out of China of a woman spewing racial slurs and epithets at Black women eating at a restaurant in China. And you can see right here, this person right here is just sitting back, another Chinese person sitting back watching this person harassing them. There's other people in the restaurant and nobody's saying anything to this woman. And I pointed that out in the last live stream. I'm like, when they do stuff like this, nobody, anywhere you go in Asia where somebody is hurling racial epithets at Black people, nobody does anything. Nobody says anything. They just like, oh, okay. Yeah, she's just spewing racial epithets at Black people. Okay, it is what it is. They don't do anything. All right. I have 2 videos I want to play. It's the same video, but there is one guy, he had commentary over this video, and I want people to catch what he said, because I've been saying this, but I want people to catch what he says. So without further ado, let me make sure this volume isn't too loud. I want to play this. Let's go.
Black go back to your country. We don't welcome Black people. Black people should go. You look so ugly with your dark skin color. Go back to your country. Do you eat watermelon? I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's white and he's your master.
Did you hear what she said? She said, I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's white and he's your master. Now, you see, there's 2 guys right here. Yeah, it looks like they may not speak English, right? And there was this person right here. So you got, in the video, there's a minimum of 3 other people that are Chinese in a restaurant. They can see that they're harassing these group of Black people. They're not saying anything. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever, that's normal. You know, just another Tuesday where this is going on. All right. Let me play this video again.
Black
That song was crazy. Hold on. Listen.
Black Go back to your country. We don't welcome black people. Black people should go.
Go back to your country. We don't want black people. Black people should go. But yeah, go to your country. You know, we're mass producing shit that, you know, we advertise to you guys all the time because you're the number one consumer. We want you to buy our shit, but from a distance, right? But go back to your country. Black N-words. Then she's singing a song.
Go back to your country. We don't welcome black people. Black people should go. You look so ugly with your dark skin color.
You look so ugly with your black skin color. Don't worry, I got a video of her with the blur out. I just want to play this one video. Netizens praise their composure and question why no one nearby stepped in. I'll tell you why nobody stepped in is because this is normal. I used to live, for those that don't know, my name is Splashwave Beats. I've either been living or traveling abroad for the last 16 years. I actually have to go out the country within like 4 hours, all right? And within 4 hours, I'll be out the country again. This is normal. This right here is normal in China, all right? And a lot of people feel the same way. Nobody steps in. See, this right here, if it was in reverse, if a black person in, let's say, Houston, Texas, because there's a lot of Asians in Houston, Texas. There's Filipinos, there's Vietnamese, there's Chinese, you name it, they're in Texas. They're in Houston, all right? If there was a Chinese person, a Chinese woman who stepped foot into a black restaurant, right, and wanted to try the food, wanted to eat the food, and a black woman came in and did this to them, the other people in the restaurant would damn near physically attack that black woman who's doing this to them if that were to happen in reverse. Black people would drag that woman out the restaurant. You don't do that to those people. You don't say that to those people. You know better. We never raised you like this, that, and the third. But nobody in Asia, it's not just China, right? I've been all over Asia. Nobody in Asia would check somebody for harassing, disrespecting, and hurling racial slurs at a black person. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't check them for that. If that happened out here, well, not just in Texas, anywhere in America, other black people would check that person like, hey, you don't do that to them. They're minding their business. You don't do that to those people. Then they would apologize. They would give them free stuff. They would be very apologetic. But you go anywhere in Asia, this is the case right here.
Go back to your country. Do you eat watermelon? I'm going to say.
Right. So this right here, this video right here, it makes its ways throughout China. You think the Chinese government is going to create a law protecting black tourists or black permanent residents or black residents or black people that are on visas in China who get harassed like this? No. But in America, right? In America, they have to get these fake actors who aren't even from America but have black skin to, you know, act out these scenarios where they seem like they're harassing somebody in order to, you know, get a political agenda passed, right? Get a bill or a law, you know, some sort of, it's all done by some political agenda, right? And they get it passed doing that. But when this happens over in China or any country in Asia, no, it's just like, hey, it is what it is. Hopefully they left, right? The sad part about this video right here, the comment section, because you guys can go see this, go to TikTok, must share news, right? Read the comments in the comment section. It's a bunch of people in the comment section talking about, hey, I side with the Chinese woman. That's what they're saying. Hey, I agree with the Chinese woman. What did she say that was wrong? Right? She's right. Read the comments underneath this post right here on this comment section. It's a bunch of people saying they agree with this Chinese woman right here.
And it's to my boyfriend because he's white and he's your master.
There was another guy that popped up. Hold on. Wait. So there was 4 other people in the restaurant, probably people in the back kitchen. Nobody helped. Nobody stepped in. Nobody told her that she was wrong for doing and saying what she said. Hold on. I'm going to play another video. It's the same video, but I want you to hear the commentary. That because I've been saying this. But I want you to hear somebody else saying it. Hold on.
Go back to your country.
That's her face.
Go back to your country, nigger.
So there's a guy commentating on, but they're gonna show the guy who's commentating. They're gonna show his face. You can hear his voice, but you're gonna see his face in a minute. I want you to hear what he says. Hold on.
Go back to your country. Go back to your country, nigger.
What country is she in?
It's China. They're in China.
Of course, it's from China.
They said there's a payoff at the end.
Okay.
Go back to your country. Nigger. Do you eat watermelon?
Oh no.
Oh,
I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's white and he's your master.
holy shit!
I guess that's it.
Okay. The thing is, I shouldn't be surprised because people always like to talk about white guilt and white privilege. Have you spent time around Asian women? The most intensely racist group of people I've ever encountered in my life. Now, there are some who are lovely, to be clear, but the level of racism that is acceptable if that's actually, especially in China, I don't even think your white, guilty Western mind could comprehend it. Like if she went home and told her family, let's say if 18 people, there might be one who's like, well, maybe you go too far.
Boom. Haven't I said this dozens and dozens and dozens of times? I've said that dozens of times. Like, man, yes, there's racism in the West. It's just, it's systematic. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people in the dominant society over here that have done and are still doing heinous things, vile things to a lot of black people here in America. But this right here, like if somebody white were to do this in America, they would lose everything. There might be a GoFundMe of others, right-wing radicals who have the same mindset as somebody who were to make a video like this in America, and they would get donations. Sometimes those donations, they get, they cut them off. Like GoFundMe, they'll cut it off. They were like, no, you're not going to get paid for this, right? There'll be lawsuits that lose their jobs. You name it. Especially if that person were to make a video like that while they were on the job, then that company would be attacked. That person would lose a lot. Now, would they regain it back quickly? Yes, but there'll be swift justice in America. There is no justice for this in Asia, right? And the mindset, their level of racism, like this right here, is normal in China. There's a lot of, not saying everybody, but there's a lot of stuff like this and other things that don't have to do with race over in Asia, especially in mainland China, that would be considered like, it's mental illness. There's a lot of mental health issues, not only over in Asia, but definitely in China as well. And this is one of it right here. Nobody did anything in the restaurant. Nobody said anything. And like he said, he was just like, if she were to go back and tell her family what she had did, everybody would be like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's cool. Whatever. That's just how it is over there.
Okay. The thing is, I shouldn't be surprised because people always like to talk about white guilt and white privilege. Have you spent time around Asian women? The most intensely racist group of people I've ever encountered in my life. Now, there are some who are.
This is coming from, I don't even know who this guy is. Right, I just saw this on TikTok. but I don't know what his views are or whatever. But the racism over in Asia, like it makes white people's eyes get wide. Like white people step back and be like, hold on now. Even somebody with like right-wing white supremacist views, it makes them choke on their drink. The level of racism that they have towards black people over in Asia. It's like, hold on now. Wait a minute. Slow down. Some of the radicals, the extremists over here, they have to tell a lot of people over in Asia to slow down with their racism. I've been saying that.
The most intensely racist group of people I've ever encountered in my life. Now, have you spent time around Asian women? The most intensely racist group of people I've ever encountered in my life. Now, there's some who are lovely, to be clear, but the level of racism that is acceptable in, if that's actually, especially in China, I don't even think your white, guilty Western mind could comprehend it. Like if she went home and told her family, let's say if 18 people, there might be one who's like, "Oh, maybe you go too far."
I've always said this, and he's right. See, when you traveled, you know exactly what it is over there. And so when I see other brothers just talking about, living abroad, right, and living over in that region of the world, I'm just like, hey man, I don't think you know what you're getting yourself into. And I always give the disclaimer: it's not everybody. Everybody doesn't represent that woman with those views, right? I never said it was everybody, but that level of racism is heavily prevalent. That was extreme, you know what I'm saying? But even if that woman didn't have the courage enough to be that extreme to make a video like that, it would show when you're getting a job. It would show when you're getting on the train. It would show when you're trying to sit down at a restaurant and eat. It's just like, oh no, somebody black came in, I'm just getting up and leaving, right? Oh, you're trying to get this black person. What happened to the last white teacher that you had? What happened? Did you run him off? So that's the best you could get? Was this black person right here? Oh no, I'm pulling my kid out. I'm taking him to a different language center. Hold on, you live next door? Oh no, you can't live next door. No. I don't want anybody black living next to me next door. Get on the train. This monkey came on the train. Let me pull out my phone and act like, I'm surfing the web, but I'm actually recording and taking pictures of this black person on the train so I can upload it to social media, make memes of it, and make a whole entire website and talk shit about it. There was actually a video I saw last week, but this is normal in Asia. There was a video last week of somebody who was in China, a black person who was in China minding their business, and they're sitting on the train normally. The person across from them is acting like they're on the phone, just surfing the internet, surfing social media. But the window behind them, because they were going through like a dark tunnel, the window behind them showed the reflection of what was on that girl's phone, and it was her recording the black person that was sitting across from them. And like, if you get up and tell them to delete it and make a scene, now the whole train is like against you, right? You're causing a disturbance on the train. You're attacking one of their own, and they have to go in defense mode, even though they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, which is just recording you minding your business. So the other person recorded that person recording them, like this is what they do, and didn't say anything. Because if you say anything, you show any sign of like emotion, like, hey, that's not right, then everybody will side with that Asian person who was clearly doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, but they were allowed to do it anyways. And the locals, they'll allow it because it's like, hey, you're black, like you don't have any rights or anything for us to respect anyways. Like what he said, the level of racism that's acceptable over there towards black people, it's off the meter. And these are potentially that region of the world is potentially like the next superpower, right? And what bothers me the most is that this right here, you know, if they eventually become the next superpower of the world, this is going to become normal. This is going to become normal very soon.
Go back to your country. Go back to your country, nigger.
What country is she in?
It's China.
Right. This is going to be normal. This is going to become normal. And if you look at it through the lens over here, and black people can't even come together to make families, do business, look out for one another, stick together, be solid. Black people are trying to get away from each other. A black woman is only coming around to get a baby from you and for you to get the fuck on so that y'all can separate yourselves. You see what I'm saying? You know, family and the family structure, that is what strengthens a community. But you cannot get the women over here to see that. They're over here too busy hollering about how they don't need you, how you ain't shit, how you're a piece of shit, you know, juggling dicks over here, right? But when you try to sit somebody down and get them to see like, hey, you know, this is how you conduct yourself in a relationship, a family. We build the importance of family and sticking together. Women don't give a shit about that over here. And then when you're divided, they conquer. And when they conquer with hate.
They're in China.
Of course, it's from China.
Do you not know how this woman just said the quiet part out loud, but it's not even the quiet part. Like people are this vocal normally in China like that. Yet they have an Asian hate act in place to protect them here. Yeah, exactly. I was talking about that earlier. Y'all don't understand how, you know, I lived in Asia for 8 years. I lived in Asia for 8 years. I can't begin to tell you how normal this is and how many, like there's like 1.4 or like 1.5 billion people in China and India alone. So those two countries are already 3 billion. You know what I'm saying? You add up all the other people in the other countries, it might account to like maybe 5 or 6 billion, right? So there are billions. I'm not going to say 100% of those people have this standpoint or whatever, but they don't check this. So if you just kind of let this fester, let this go on without saying anything to this woman and saying, hey, this isn't right, then it's kind of like you're enabling this type of behavior. So there are billions of people who damn near have this mindset over there. And people are looking to them to, you know, for the next technology and for them to kind of move the world ahead. And then you know, women over here are too busy trying to finesse you. Women over here are trying to spew campaigns, smear ad campaigns on black men. You're not needed. You ain't shit. We're better off without you, right? And look who's attacking you when you travel abroad. You know, out of the majority of, I would say, black male travel channels, I've been the most vocal standing up for black women, believe it or not, right? When they said, remember those 2 women in Indonesia? Well, actually, there was several women. There were 2 occasions, 4 black women who got arrested. 2 of them that put out a vlog saying, hey, this is how we're living, you know, over in Indonesia. We're donating in tough times like this. When they showed their home, Indonesians over in Indonesia, they got pissed off, right? And called for them to get arrested because they they said that they were on overstay. So now you're a fucking immigration officer. They weren't on overstay. I know they weren't on overstay. They just said they were on overstay. So since the local people were pissed off enough that these two black women were living in an exotic tree house, it was a nice tree house, an exotic tree house in Indonesia, they just got deported. And when they had the spotlight to call out the racism, they said they hate us because of LGBT. You know, I put them to the side. I was done with them. I'm calling out the unjust, you know, the unfair, despicable treatment of black people for that, because it was for no reason at all, right? Just because they made a YouTube video, they made a vlog post like everybody else does on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. So I stood up for them. There were two other black women who overcharged at a spa, and they were charged for something that they didn't even get treatment for. Like, hey, we're not paying for this because you didn't offer this, right? Now, if you do this, then we'll pay it, but you didn't offer this, so I'm not paying something that you didn't do. And they insist that they pay it, right? So they was like, fine, we're done arguing with you. You're getting physical, you're getting violent. The woman just like, hey, let me go to the ATM down the road. My friend can stay here. I'll come back and pay you guys. Since you're so desperate for money, you know, this will never happen again. They physically assault and battery on one of the women who wasn't even trying to leave, right? They arrested the two black women. I stood up for them. I was vocal about that. I've had friends personally who were locked up and arrested because Japanese women lied on them because they didn't want to be with them no more. They moved on, had a new girlfriend, and years later they said, okay, he beat me. They locked him up anyways. You know, I've been vocal about this shit, right? Even though my friends, they were males, right? I talked about how black women over in Korea are approached and treated, right? How, you know, some of the women over there were physically assaulted by men at nightclubs because they didn't want to let them in because they were too dark. How they exposed some of the messages on dating apps, the way these men talk to them on dating apps. Ooh, you know, I only want black, only want you for a night. I just want to fuck and experience how you feel. That's it. What's up? Only one night. That's it. I don't want nothing else to do with you. Just one night. I talk about this. I'll talk about other channels like, hey, you know, look at all these stories from YouTube and TikTok of what these women experience, right? I've been vocal about that. I've given a lot of black women the benefit of the doubt, the grace, you know, about how they're treated over in Asia. I don't get bent out of shape because they don't want to say hello. A lot of them don't even say hello to black men or whatever. I just talk about what I see. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And I talk about it, you know. And look at this situation right here. You got two black women traveling. I believe both of them are black women, right? Because by the way they laughed about, you know, how she was carrying herself, it sounded like there were two women. I don't think it was a male and a female couple. I think it was two black women. Black women, you know, if they want to, if women want to travel abroad by themselves, you know, I don't have a problem with that. I always advise for women to travel with a man because this probably wouldn't have happened if a man was right there. But at the same time, if a man would have, you know, even if a man would have held out the phone and hurled all these racial slurs, and the man would have defended himself because it could have escalated, they would have locked both of them up, right? So they did the right thing by not reacting. I want to go more into detail with that. The next live stream I'm gonna talk about is Vitaly. I think that's the guy's name who does all these hood pranks and, you know, running on basketball courts, football fields, soccer fields, right? You know, he's over in the Philippines. They about to, I think they said they want to give him like 25 years, 40 years or whatever on the video he made over there. He did a couple pranks like yelling in people's ears while they're eating. He took a fan and, you know, being goofy around people. That doesn't warrant a 25 to 40 year arrest, right? Because over here in America, right, do you know how many Chinese gangs there are? In other Asian groups, you know how many Vietnamese gangs are in Houston? Do you know how many Filipino gangs there are? Korean gangs, Chinese gangs in New York, Cali, Texas, right? Nobody's doing this to people over here. And if they did do this, they would be compensated. They would pass a bill, pass laws protecting them. But over in their country, it's just like, oh, that's okay. It's fine. Even if it got physical, even if this person would have got physical with them, nobody really would have stepped in and done anything. It's just like, oh, okay. You know, that's who they are. That's how they're to be treated, you know, being black. But like the guy said, you know, you don't understand. You know, this woman would have went back to her family. Only one person might have said, maybe you took it too far.
Now, there's some who are lovely, to be clear, but the level of racism that is acceptable in, if that's actually, especially in China, I don't even think your white, guilty Western mind could comprehend it. Like if she went home and told her family, let's say if 18 people, there might be one who's like, well, maybe you go too far.
Man, he's absolutely right. I've been saying this, right? Kuma says it is very frustrating. If a black person check this chick seriously, then others will say black people are violent. Exactly. Then when you tolerate it, will just, you know, embolden the racists. Exactly. So it's like you don't do anything. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, so as somebody who's traveled, I always say, hey, man, you shouldn't have to say, don't go over there, right? Yes, it's easy to say, don't go over there, but you shouldn't have to say, don't go over there. You should say, hey, you should call this out. This needs to be called out. This needs to be on a world. The world needs to see that, and the world needs to do something about it, right? Because black people only don't just exist in America. We exist in Latin America, the Caribbean, Canada, the UK, right? All of Africa. And there are black tourists who travel around the globe. And for people of a certain region globally to be allowed to do that and the government doesn't do anything, you know, this is why, you know, look, at this point, I don't care what Asians are going through. You know, I'm not gonna say people deserve anything negative that comes their way, right? I'm not going to say, hey, violence needs to come towards people's way that does this. No, what I'm saying is this needs to be called out, right? This needs to be called out. More people need to talk about this. More people need to make mention of this. More people need to make videos of this. This needs to come to a halt. This needs to stop. I don't care what country it's in. I don't care if it's on the other side of the globe, right? We get products from them. They're allowed to get citizenship over here. They're allowed to have their own enclaves, neighborhoods, sections of the towns or major cities for them, right? They're allowed to, no. This needs to be called out in America. This needs to be called out overseas because the ill treatment is over here in America also that comes from them. All right? That mindset, you don't understand how normal that mindset is all throughout Asia. And like I said, is it 100%? Is it everybody over there? No. I'm not saying it's everybody over there, but when people are told, "Hey, you're black. We don't hire blacks over here. They want a white teacher." That needs to be called out. People that are being recorded while they're on the train or while they're out in public minding their business just because they're black, that needs to be called out. People you need to stop, especially the women, really have a bad habit of doing this. When you're over in China or any other Asian country and people just start touching your hair and putting their hands and their fingers in your hair just because, oh, it's black hair, it's like they feel like you're just an animal, like you're a zoo animal that's to be pet at any given point in time. You don't have to allow that. Stop allowing that. That's normal over there as well. People putting their fingers in your hair, taking a picture of you. I didn't allow people to take pictures and videos, record videos of me in China. Hey, can I take a picture? No. No, you can't. For what? Hey, can I take a picture? No. It got to the point, man, like, you got to tell kids no. I don't care if you are my student. No, you can't take a picture with me or of me because I don't know what you're going to do with these pictures. Because, like, when you walk throughout China, man, like, I would say at least once a week, somebody, maybe even 3 times a week, somebody random wants to take a picture of you. And then it gets to a point where it's like, man, fuck it. I'm going to just pull my camera out. I'm going to pull my phone out and take a picture of them regardless and make memes and make fun of them. And no, man, like, people over in Asia, they're allowed to assimilate into our culture over here. And then it's like you're allowed to have the mindset that you had. Remember that viral video throughout the pandemic when I think somebody went to a construction site or they went to a home because I think their home was being built or they lived in that neighborhood. They had a house there and some Asian guy just started spewing racial epithets at a guy because a black man was able to afford living in that neighborhood. And he just, y'all remember that video? I'm like, hey, this people who've never traveled, that don't, especially never traveled that way, that don't know much, they're shocked. But I wasn't shocked because I lived in Asia for 8 years. I like, that's normal. That is normal. All right. So let me play this video one last time. Hold on.
Go back to your country. Go back to your country, nigger.
What country is she in?
It's China. They're in China.
Of course, it's from China.
They said there's a payoff.
I mean, she's like, you're so ugly with your dark skin color. Do you know how many times, like, when I was you'll see people, it's in the middle of the summer, they got on big parkas covering themselves because it's like, hey, they don't want to get dark. Right? I've had people tell, it's really women. Out of all the most racist people like that you're going to encounter that are the most vocal, right? Not what their views are, but the people who are the most vocal are the women. The women are the most vocal over in Asia, right? I've had women like, oh, don't sit too close. You get your black skin, it'll rub off on me, right? This has happened in China to me, right? So this isn't, you sit down on the train, it's packed, right? But the seat next to you is wide open because nobody wants to sit next to you.
Of course, it's from China.
Imagine she would have said that in the Bronx, nothing would have happened. Nothing. What would have happened? Nothing would have happened to her. People would have probably yelled, and then the people yelling, their friends would have held them back and said, hey, man, it's not even worth it. Let them go. nothing would have happened to her. A lot of them were using umbrellas during the summer.
They said there's a payoff at the end.
Okay.
Go back to your country. Nigger, 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 nigger. Do you eat watermelon?
Oh no! Oh.
I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's white and he's your master.
I don't understand the whole. What, like growing up, I've never been to a black person's house that had watermelon in the refrigerator. I never, and that wasn't even a conscious thing. That's just not something we eat regularly like that. Now, if you said, do you eat grapes? Then that's something totally different. You're going to see black women got a bowl of grapes in their house, but watermelon, I never saw that. And why would somebody be demonized for eating something so healthy and nutritious, right? Whereas like over in their country, they eat blood. They eat blood on a stick. They eat pork blood on a stick, right? So they still use the watermelon epithet to this day. I don't get it.
Holy shit!
I guess that's it.
Okay. The thing is, I shouldn't be surprised because people always like to talk about, white guilt and white privilege. Have you spent time around Asian women? The most intensely racist group of people I've ever encountered in my life. Now, there are some who are lovely, to be clear, but the level of racism.
Right, but a lot of women, they'll get with them and they think, okay, since I'm with a white man now, let me show how dedicated I am by showing my allegiance, by telling them how much I hate black people. And they'll, because I've had a lot of white guys who dated Asian women get around me and tell me like, yeah, one of the things she told me was just like how much she hated black people. And it's just like dude, it makes them like some of the things I've heard them say, behind closed doors to them. It's like, yo, it makes them like choke what they hear, especially the things that I've heard
in my life. Now,
they've told me that they've said to them.
Some who are lovely, to be clear, but the level of racism that is acceptable.
Yeah, I know that, Kuma. I know that, but it's like the desperation to fit in by saying this. It's like that's what I'm saying.
And if that's actually, especially in China, I don't even think your white, guilty Western mind could comprehend it. Like if she went home and told her family, let's say if 18 people, there might be one who's like, well, maybe you go too far.
All right, so man, that's all I wanted to show. Like I said, this doesn't represent everybody Asian. Let me put that disclaimer out there again, but this mindset is heavily prevalent throughout the Asian community, right? And over in Asian countries. I mean, and then they come over here and they bring that over here. Remember, I did a live stream talking about that one black woman in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, who was dating a Korean man. And she was like half black, half African, half Filipino herself, right? But I mean, she just looked like a black person. Just, you kind of have to go above and beyond and tell people that your mother is Filipino, right? By the way she looked. And she was trying to align more with her Asian side more than her dad's African side. So she got with a Korean man, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like he was too afraid to bring her over to the family, right? Because of her blackness. And I never forget when he tried to bring her over to the house, the parents, the garage door is open. The parents opened the door leading to the garage, and she waited outside of the garage with her hands behind her back and her head down while the parents were like, "What are you doing? We told you we don't agree with that. Don't ever come back around here ever again. Don't bring that over here." And you're in Canada, right? You are in Canada saying this, right? The most culturally diverse, one of the most culturally diverse countries in the world. You are saying this in Canada. And she just took it and accepted it. And like not only, and a lot of people think, okay, this is the older generation that feels like this. No, mind you, that video I just played, that was a young girl that I played. That wasn't no old woman. That was a young girl that I played. And in that video of the black woman who was the half black woman who was dating the Korean man, that guy's own sister disowned him. That guy's own sister didn't want to speak to him ever again because he was dating a black woman, you know? So that sounds like love withstanding YouTube. What is that, a YouTube channel? Is that a YouTube channel? Is that what their YouTube channel is called? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, that's them. Yep, that's them. That's them right there. Shocking reunion with his strange. Oh, their latest video 2 months ago. Shocking reunion with his strange dad after 7 years. Meets. Oh, damn, they got 5 kids now. Damn, they got a bunch of kids now. Yeah, they live in Calgary. They talking about that's sad. A medical emergency with children. So yeah, obviously this woman wanted to dilute the blackness that her father this woman wanted to dilute that blackness that, you know, her father gave to her. Because I remember the old videos before they got married. You know, she was saying like, yeah, my dad is like, I think her dad might have been Caribbean. I don't know. Yeah, my dad's side, yeah, black, but I am Asian. Right. So she was always trying to lead more towards her. Oh, yeah, this video right here. Brought my Blasian fiance to my Korean parents unannounced. She was always trying to like talk more about like her like she was trying to align more with her Asian side instead of being 50-50. Right. And I've talked about that, in my opinion, on that, like especially when you meet somebody biracial that has like a black and an Asian parent. You know, it's always like growing up, when I would meet somebody who was like half black, half white, where I'm from, there was only like 4 or 5 people at my school that was biracial, but they all identified as black, right? Nobody, it was never like, well, my white side this or my Asian side that. No, it was always, they was black, right? It wasn't until I started traveling where I would see other people like trying to kind of denounce their blackness more and trying to identify more with the other side. That's when, because of how they aesthetically look, right? It's kind of like you don't even look like you're mixed, but they go above and beyond, out their way to prove how Asian or how, you know, Hispanic they are. You know, I thought, I was like, oh, okay, right? That's cool. You know, I'm not whatever. But This woman right here, this video brought my Blasian fiance to meet my Korean parents unannounced. I mean, this is a fairly attractive, I'm gonna say, black woman. This is a real attractive black woman. You don't, and when you look at the husband, it's like you don't see that. You don't see somebody as, I don't want to make fun of him. You don't see somebody that kind of looks like him with a woman that looks as good as her, right? But you see this more with somebody that's biracial, or they're non-foundational Black American, they're non-FBA, right? But I'm looking at them in the car preparing to, they got the camera on, they're preparing to go to the house. Hold on. I think the sister was on. The mom is even, who's that? Don't bring her here. He brought the girl to the house. I'm so sick, I can't even speak. Don't come. I'm suffering from a major illness. We are really sick. Next time. But this was 7-8 years ago. It was recently 2 months ago when the grandfather finally came around to see the kids. They eventually come around, and it seems like she's happy that the family finally came around. First of all, man, look, this video ain't about that, right? This video, I made mention of that, but this video ain't about them. But that's another example, right? It's not called out, right? You're in Canada, you're in Calgary, right? And they, if you were to tell, and I will give credit to the husband and say, I'm glad he recorded that. So I'll give him credit. The Korean husband, I have more respect for him than the wife, because the Korean husband, he actually recorded that and put it up on social media, and it got 3 million views. So I'm glad that he actually called it out. But, if you were to go to that house and say, hey, go back to your country with that mindset, dude, you would be arrested. You would be arrested. Asians would get together and say, hey, you're not going to come at us like that, even though it would be, even though that would be the right thing to do, to call out that type of behavior. No, you would, like, criminal charges would be trumped up on you for that. They are a protected class over in the West. So, but they're allowed to say that about you, right? But you're not allowed to say, hey, no, don't bring anybody of a certain race over to this house. So I was like, well, we know how he got her. She's half Asian, non-FBA. And usually those women, they want to breed out the blackness from their lineage, right? She speaks like 3 or 4 languages. That's cool, right? And I'm not against her, but you love who you love, right? But shit, I'm not dating somebody and going over to their house and I gotta wait outside. Black people, you done been through enough, right? Black people are going to circle the block back around into open antebellum slavery again. And the Jim Crow era is going to come back around again in full force. And people's minds are too busy on smoking, drinking, turning up, shitting on each other, shitting on Shannon Sharp for who he has sex with, or shitting on a black man for who they have sex with, right? Saying women outwardly bragging about how they don't need men and black men ain't shit. Black people in the community are too busy focused on that, right? And separating themselves from each other than actually sticking with each other, building families, building a community, being productive in a society, in a relationship. and building. That's your strength, is staying together and building. And because now what you're going to do is you're you know, a new regime is rising, and this is how they think, right? This is how they think. But anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. I was gonna get a DJI mic or a Rode mic. I just didn't have time. I literally only been back for 12 hours. I got to go back out again. So I'm trying to. I want to make more videos while I'm on the road, all right? So we could do like at least 5 or 6 nights a week doing live streams and chopping it up with you guys. I want to do that, but it's I haven't even had time to go to the store, or I mean I could order it on Amazon and it's just here. So I'll do that. I'll do that next week. I'll just order it on Amazon and it'll just show up to the crib. And 5, 6 nights a week, we can make content with each other and get on live and chop it up. And we could talk more about stuff that's in the news and trending topics. All right. How would y'all have acted if that Asian woman was saying those slurs to you? I would have done the same thing. Knowing what I know about China, I would have done the same thing. Just recorded it, uploaded it, did commentary on it, and send it to major outlets. That's what you do. So they did the right thing, because if they would have got up and fought that chick, the Chinese government would have locked them up for years, right? Even though in America, that would have been, those black women, they wouldn't even have been charged, because that's hate speech. That's a hate crime right there, what they did, right? Suit to be the great. That's a hate crime what they did. So there would have been no charges over here, but over there, I'm like, nope, you hit this woman, you're gonna spend 10 years in prison over here. Tell her that's Mr. N-word to you. Hilarious. Anyways, so I will. What's today? I'll do a live stream Monday. Yeah, so Monday, I'm gonna do another live stream Monday. I'm gonna talk about Vitali. Do you know who Vitali is? I'm gonna talk about why he shouldn't have been detained, why he should have only been deported, but he shouldn't have been detained, right? And there should be no charges for Vitali. I still think he's a piece of shit. I don't care for him, but this is setting a bad precedent. If this man could go around and just make like little troll videos or whatever, and then you're gonna lock him up for, what do they want to give him, like 25 years? No, right? And this is happening in the Philippines. So we're gonna talk about him on Monday. All right. So you guys be safe. See you guys on Monday. Peace.